Have you considered at all what happens if you lose?
No, not at all. I don't think about losing because I'm too busy thinking about winning.
When most fighters are worried about the risk, Terence Crawford is telling Canelo Alvarez the truth. That's more than just faith. Crawford has already seen the reward in his mind. No fear, no doubt, just legacy. If you thought this fight was just about belts or money, you're wrong.
Everything for my legacy and my career, and I'm looking forward to it.
Crawford's attitude is unshakable, but not everyone is convinced. Despite his undefeated record and dominance across many weight classes, some fans were left with more questions and answers following Terence Crawford's most recent fight against Israel Madrimov. The performance wasn't very exciting, and the normal sharpness didn't seem as sharp, even though it looked like he won. Critics pounced, calling it flat, careful, and even a sign that Crawford isn't ready for Canelo, who is bigger and more experienced. In a recent interview, Crawford was asked to talk about the fight with Madrimov. This is what he said.
Great performance. I thought I did what I wanted in the ring. I thought I picked it up when I wanted to. I thought I banged when I wanted to, boxed real well. I don't take nothing from it, because styles make fights, and Canelo has a different style than Israel Madrimov. So, we just go from there.
No apologies, no regrets, just clear, calm, and in control. Crawford does not see the fight with Madrimov as a red flag, but as part of the plan. His goal wasn't to please critics. Instead, he was gathering information, managing risk, and putting off making the big statement until a much bigger night. Though with a fighter like Canelo in the ring, that level of calculated confidence could either look great or fail in front of everyone. That's what makes this fight so risky, unpredictable, and personal. For Crawford, it's not just about belts or history, it's about putting an end to all doubters with the most calculated risk of his career. After Crawford dismissed worries about his previous battle, another wave of criticism erupted, this time from a man who knows the super middleweight scene all too well. Jose Benvidez is David Benavidez's older father and teacher. He is known for never holding back. Benvidez Sr. didn't only doubt Crawford's method, he regarded the entire Canelo fight as a horrible idea from the start.
Terence Crawford's a little guy, He's coming up 2 divisions to fight Canelo Alvarez, and you think he's going to go toe-to-toe with Canelo? Come on, man, Terence Crawford's a great fighter, really good fighter, but that's too much weight for him. So he's going to try to survive and move around and try to win the round. That's what's going to happen.
Crawford has not come to win by dominating. He is coming to live, as stated by Benvidez Sr., and this emotion is part of a much larger narrative. Canelo, even in his decline, is simply too strong, too experienced, and too heavy-handed for a naturally smaller fighter like Crawford. Benvidez sees a style mismatch as well as a physical one, which he feels will result in one of the most boring mega-fights in recent memory.
Canelo at this stage right now, his legs are not the same, the body's not responding the same, so I think he's going to have problems trying to catch Terence Crawford, to be honest with you, and I think it's going to be the same fight, I think it's going to be a bit boring, exciting, because I heard that Canelo was the worst fight ever on pay-per-view to throw the less punches in history, so we're hoping to see a great fight, a good fight, but that matchup is not a matchup to be excited.
Benvidez Sr. is clearly pushing the narrative that Crawford doesn't belong at 168 and that fans should temper their expectations, but there's an undertone here that's hard to ignore. If Crawford somehow pulls this off, if he makes Canelo miss, frustrates him, and takes over with speed and timing, it won't just silence critics, it'll shake the foundation of the super middleweight division, because for guys like Benvidez Jr., who've waited years for a shot at Canelo seeing a knot, every boxing legend thinks his choice to face Canelo is prudent. Enter Juan Manuel Marquez, a Mexican great and Hall of Famer who isn't afraid to tell it like it is. When questioned about Crawford versus Canelo, Marquez did not mince words.
I don't like the fight because Terence Crawford is a good fighter, but in the sport of boxing, it has divisions. What I mean,
Right, weight classes.
Right? Yeah, weight classes.
For a reason.
Weight classes And Terence Crawford is a good fighter in super lightweight, welterweight, super welterweight, but I think more. I remember when Terence Crawford fought with Madrimov.
Yes.
He looks slow. He looks with no power. and three more divisions, two more divisions. I think it's a top fight for Terence Crawford, but
That comes from a man who knows what it means to go through weight classes the hard way. Marquez has fought in 4 categories, facing monsters such as Pacquiao, Mayweather, and Barrera, so when he says weight counts, he is speaking from experience, not opinion. The Crawford-Canelo discussion is about more than simply technique. It's about size, power, and whether top boxing IQ can win against plain physicality and show business. The grown-up, one of the most brutally honest voices in boxing analysis, did not mince words while breaking it all down. He made one thing very clear: Crawford can study Bivol's design, but that doesn't mean he can reproduce it.
Is the fight you got to study if you're Crawford. Crawford ain't Floyd, but he can do a Bivol. The problem is Bivol's a big dude. I got a lot of fighters Canelo fought at 168 beating Crawford. I got Caleb Plant beating Crawford. I got Berlanga beating Crawford. I got Callum Smith beating Crawford. Just way too huge, of course. But that's why Crawford ain't campaigning at 168. He's trying to beat Canelo because Canelo is a special case. He's one of the best fighters of all time, and he's actually a little guy who ballooned up to 160.
In other words, Crawford isn't trying to take over the super middleweight division. This is a one-night heist, a surgical strike, a shot at history, not a career move, which makes it all the more risky because if he falls short, people will say he reached too far, not that he dared to be great. Despite the concerns about weight and strength, some say the fight still provides where it counts the most. Veteran commentator Jim Lampley, whose voice characterized an era of big-time boxing on HBO, may have reservations about the size difference, but he remains interested by the battle itself. Crawford versus Canelo, in his opinion, is not just about weight. It is also about who cracks first.
Crawford is going to fight Canelo because even if I have some doubts and misgivings about the size matchup, it is two action fighters who like to fight aggressively at times, not all the times, going against each other, and we'll see who can open the other person's tuna can, so to speak.
In other words, forget about the Tate story. It may come down to who is smarter when it counts. Canelo may be big, but he's losing speed. Crawford may be smaller, but he is fresher and more cerebral, which is plenty for fans like Lampley to watch because legend fights aren't always fair. They're simply memorable. Boxer and analyst Johnny Mansour, who has never hidden his adoration for Crawford, says that this bout makes him scared for both good and bad reasons.
Crawford.
I love Canelo, but Crawford is one of my favorite fighters. He's super crafty inside the ring, very good fundamentally, but he's stepping up to a very high division. So all respect to Crawford, but I'm gonna have to say Canelo, and I hope he doesn't hurt Crawford, but I think he will.
That is the balance. Crawford is walking not only to defeat a stronger man, but also to survive the dangers that come with chasing greatness. Every inch of legacy he aims for comes at a cost, and some feel Canelo will make him pay it in full. Even boxers who appreciate Crawford's ring IQ wonder if he's taking on too much. Teofimo Lopez, known for his bold takes and in-ring tenacity, chose Canelo without hesitation, but not without nuance. While he recognized Crawford's better boxing intelligence, he couldn't deny the physical fact.
Crawford, Canelo, who you got? Crawford, Canelo? I still say Canelo.
I got Canelo too.
I still say Canelo. Ring IQ, I believe that Crawford has a bit more.
Yep.
However, it's just the size difference. I think that where Crawford is lacking is that he should try test the waters even with somebody at that weight class before facing Canelo. But hey, they say he's a dog. He's got shot in the head and drove to the hospital, so maybe that's just his mentality.
Hey, let's see. Only one way to find out till that day comes.
It's the only way, but I definitely think that it's a great fight overall. You know, black and brown is how you get down.
That's what makes this race so divisive. It's not just skill versus skill. It's attitude versus mass, and in a sport where margins count, Crawford's courage may be his greatest strength or his downfall. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who fought Canelo, a high-profile All-Mexico battle in 2017, was blunt about his thoughts after seeing Canelo's recent performances. Chavez Jr. thinks the 4-division champion has lost some of his fire, but even that version of Canelo still too much for Crawford. Crawford has heart and skills, but the question is how much weight he can bear and how much risk he is ready to put himself in.
Canelo is the favorite of this fight. It's still a big than Crawford. And I don't know, Crawford, how is Crawford now? It's my age, 39, and last performance don't look good. So I pick Canelo in the...
Yeah, any advice you can give to Crawford, any insight at all from, I know it's been years since you fought Canelo, he's gotten better, bigger. And...
Run.
Chavez Jr.'s take discusses the fight's main issue, physicality. No matter how skilled Crawford is technically, size is more than just a statistic. It's a punishment waiting to happen if you're not built for it. And, according to Chavez, who has felt Canelo's power up close, Crawford should bring more than just boxing skills, he should also bring his running shoes. Tita Garcia, a trainer known for working with elite fighters, analyzed the fight from a technical and psychological angle. To him, this isn't just about size, it's about timing, and he thinks Crawford is catching Canelo at the perfect time.
I think Crawford has the skill set to be able to outbox him, to be able to move, give him a tough time and win the decision. I really think he does have the skills to beat him. I think the size, yes, it's a big factor, but the way Canelo looked in his last fight, I think he's kind of more. He's very comfortable now. He does whatever he has to do to win now. He doesn't really push himself the way he used to when he was younger. I think all that's going to help out Terence Crawford, and I think he's gonna come out with the win.
Garcia's perspective talks to something deeper, not just physical strain on Canelo, but motivational tiredness. As Crawford tries to leave a legacy, Canelo may be saving himself for the long run, with all eyes on how he will handle his most difficult job yet. Crawford gave a brief but powerful message to both fans and critics.
Crawford versus Canelo, I was the biggest fight in boxing.
Well, Canelo's the face of boxing. He's the best fighter for Terence Crawford out there. He's the biggest fight for Terence Crawford out there. So that's why Terence Crawford want to take the opportunity to share a ring with another great.
How do you beat him?
You'll see. Come 12.
No hesitation, no backpedaling, simply total certainty. This wasn't a boxer selling a payout. This was a legacy-driven champion declaring war. And in just one line, Crawford made it plain that this isn't about survival. It's about shock strategy and claiming the title. That's exactly Crawford's method. Going into this fight, he's not looking for a highlight reel finish. He's focused on outclassing Canelo each round. Crawford explained the situation in a recent interview.
I was stopping. I just got to beat him. I'm not going in there looking to knock Canelo out. Could it happen? Yes, absolutely. You know, when I look at Canelo, he's a smaller, bigger guy moving up in divisions. You know, being that these big guys is slower, so they might catch him with something, but he might see it at the last moment. You know, they might catch him with a hard shot, but he's able to roll and turn with it. You know, because he's coming from a smaller weight class that was faster, that was sharper. You know, I'm coming from a smaller weight class that's faster and sharper. So if he get hit with a sharp punch that he don't see.
As the excitement for this historic match builds, analysts and insiders are debating the mix of skill and brutality. Dan Rodriguez, a recognized boxing analyst, gave his thoughts on how the matchup is shaping up. He admits Crawford's technical advantage, but also emphasizes Canelo's unrivaled experience and size advantage, both of which might have a significant impact on the result.
That's a great fight. I feel like Crawford has an edge on that one. I feel like he has more skills than Canelo, but Canelo has the size advantage, and he's a very experienced fighter as well. So I think it's just a matter of seeing what happens. But in that fight, I favor Crawford.
Does that fight end in stoppage, you think, or?
I don't think so. I don't.
Okay.
When it comes to knowledge from those who have faced Canelo, Diego Pacheco's opinion is important. Pacheco, who has sparred with the Mexican superstar, has a unique view on Crawford's forthcoming fight. He admits Canelo's physical edge, while stressing Crawford's speed and evasive approach, making the battle a thrilling conundrum for both fighters.
Fight, man, two hell of a fighters. You know, I feel if anyone has the edge, it'd be Canelo because of the size, you know. But again, you know, Crawford is really fast and elusive and can move, can box.
A lot of experience, man, so it's really hard, man. I'm excited to watch that fight. I haven't been this excited for a fight in a while.
Pochio's Joacos brought anticipation among boxing insiders and fans. This isn't just another battle, it's a clash of styles and eras, and every move and tactic might be the difference between success and defeat. Terence Crawford's brazen approach, expert douse, and collision of styles raise this fight too much than just another big paycheck. It's a high-stakes war for legacy, pride, and respect. Only the ring will decide whether Crawford's precision can overcome Canelo's power and expertise. This is more than simply about. It is a watershed moment that has the ability to redefine the super middleweight division and boxing history in general. So what are your thoughts? Will Crawford's intelligence and speed beat Canelo's bulk and power, or is this a mismatch waiting to happen? Drop your prediction below and tell us how you expect this epic showdown playing out.